There's a certain energy that happens once you cross into the Keys, and it's infectious. The energy it's electric. It's on and off the water. There's just a buzz when you're down on Duval Street, and there's the same energy when you're out fishing on the flats.
The Keys are one of the most interesting places I think anyone could live. You feel like you're on a Caribbean island, although you're still in the States. Of course, you've got this beautiful stuff surrounding you here, all this gorgeous water. And if you like to do water-based things, it's a terrific place. The access to the water here, I think, is nothing can compare to it, because you've got water so close, and you don't have to drive 45 minutes or an hour to a boat ramp just to get in the water. Most places in the Keys, 5 minutes and you can jump right in a kayak, take a swim. Fishing in the Keys is somewhat unique in that you have crystal clear water, fairly shallow depth, and you can sight fish bonefish, permit, and in some of the finger channels, tarpon. You can also sight fish barracuda, sharks. Things like that are here, so you see them first and then you cast at them. It's a lot like hunting. You wouldn't go through the woods just blasting away, hope you hit a deer or a turkey. You actually want to see your target first. And it's very popular here because of all this clear water and all these game fish that we have that come in and feed on the flats. There's a lot of factors that go into fishing here. The weather, of course, the tides. Right now, we've been doing some fishing with really warm water temperatures. The tarpon don't really care about that, they're happy. The bonefish, on the other hand, don't really like it to get this hot. So on any given day, I think most fishermen would tell you, you have your plan A, you hope it works out, that's easy. But you better have a plan B and a plan C. Weather changes, the tides aren't what you thought they would be. So you make adjustments as you go along and try to put it all together. Probably my favorite part of living here, of course, is the weather. That's a common answer, but it's just so true. We have no snow, no frost. Never gets below 55 degrees usually in the winter, and that's only for a few nights. The hurricanes can be a challenge. I've lived through, I think, 13 storms, most of which weren't a real big deal, but a couple of them were. Wilma, that was 2005, and Hurricane Irma in 2017 was particularly tough. I was living on Cudjoe Key at that time. Fortunately, I was living in a concrete block house that was 14 feet up off the deck. Honestly, a full-blown Cat 4 storm like that, if you don't have a concrete house to stay in, you really shouldn't stay here. The winds are just too much. And then of course we had a really long recovery after that, although Keys people are very resilient. A lot of them have roots in the Bahamas and the other islands south of here, so they know all about hurricanes. The eye wall of the hurricane, when they're up in that category 4 or 5 range, is spinning off small tornadoes, just little vortexes shooting off that eye wall. That really created a lot of damage. Now you can see we're in the backside of the hurricane. That's my neighbor's sailboat. The sail got open and shredded on the front side of the storm. And you can see the storm surge. Right now looks to be about 2 feet, but you can see the water is rolling in from the ocean side up the canal. And some pretty serious damage to the house on the outside. You did get some water coming through there to the inside here, but overall the core of the house withstood what they're saying was 130 miles an hour with gusts over that. It was ugly. I'm originally from the Midwest, from Kansas. I've seen tornadoes, and as soon as the storm went away and we started driving through neighborhoods, that's the first thing that struck me, was that so much of the damage was rotational and not simply everything getting blown over one way, which is what I would have expected to see. So the tornado factor was a big, big deal. The recovery, as far as immediate help, was great. It was 3 or 4 days. We had electric companies in here. Of course, the National Guard was in here. So nobody's going to starve, and no one's going to perish from not being found. So that part of it was really comforting. But then the long aftermath of trying to rebuild some of these neighborhoods, that's still going on, to be honest with you, here 3 years later. So it's a lot to live through. Howdy, gang. It's first week of February. I'm here on the shore of Little Pine Key, and saw a part of the shoreline here that's just wrecked from the hurricane. And as I look around here, I see that the trees have not all fallen in the same direction. So I'm pretty certain this is an area where a tornado would have touched down. As you can see what Hurricane Irma did to this spot. And this was one of the spots you might call ground zero for the arrival of the storm in the northeast quadrant. Other than that, it is a pretty day. As I got out after the storm, the water was still mostly a chocolate brown, which, as you can see, is not normal. So that was pretty strange. I went to a little tarpon spot where these little 10-pound tarpon hang out, and they were there, and they ate. So I got a fish right off the bat. Took a long time for the water to clear, but once you got out there, I found that the fishing came back really, really well. I think the fish, they live with these things for eons, so they know where to go hide, and then they know how to find food when they come back.
The Keys have always been a place that just kind of has this allure to it that wants you to come down. You feel like you're disconnected. And one of the big things about it, it's not the number of fish that you catch. It's more really about the opportunity to be around stuff that you just can't be around anywhere else in the United States. There's no other place you're going to get bones, tarpon, and opportunities at permit like you do in the Keys.
Did you see him?
Yeah, I saw something.
You're just like, bone.
Yeah.
I was like,
Exactly.
what? I would have pulled the camera out.
I saw something. It's one of those things, you see something, you're like, that kind of looks fishy. I want to just
See something, say something.
In bone fishing, Jameson, my friend of mine said that one time. She called me up. Her and her husband were in fishing, and she goes, "Randy, I figured out if I see something that I think might be a bonefish, cast at it." And I said, "Absolutely, man. They're that's why they're called the ghost, gray ghost." That's a nice fish, dude. He's still frisky. Wow. I'm impressed.
Oh, dude, I'm so stoked. Woo! Yes. This is awesome. Thank you, Randy. You bet, buddy.
In my opinion, the Florida Keys is the place to go for a fly angler. The fish, the scenery, just the energy that's there is unlike anything else in the United States.